Took my glasses clean off my face, mind. My glasses just went bloof, flew away. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Ant. Now if you watched the last episode, you'll know that it was absolutely horrific for us. It's that sour, it tastes off. Like, that's how bad it is. It does not taste like you should be eating it. It doesn't, no. So today I kind of wanted a nice one. This recipe I don't think is going to be particularly gross. In fact, I know it's not going to be gross. But it is, to a British person, a little bit unusual and a little bit different. And I was just super intrigued by it. So today we're going to be making, I've had to write it down, Hagelslag.
Let's just agree that you're both slags.
Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Hagelslag.
Are also fairy bread. There's two different variations. So I'll refer to my notes. It's literally 4 words. So apparently Hagelslag was the first one to be invented, and that was by the Dutch in 1910. And then fairy bread came along by Australia in 1920.
I don't know, I said, oh, what?
Now I don't know whether the Australians copied the Dutch or whether they just made it up and it somehow coincidentally became very similar. But Australia has their own version, the Dutch have their own version, and obviously the Dutch are from, you know, Dutchland. I know they're from the Netherlands. Don't even start. It was a joke. So you might be wondering, what is Hagelslag and what is fairy bread? And this is what it is. It's essentially bread with some sort of sprinkles on it. But for it to be Hagelslag, you have to use a very specific sprinkle, whereas fairy bread, you can use any sprinkles. That's what I realised from the limited research I've done on the internet. If anyone would like to correct me, you are more than welcome to. But let's get into it. Let's eat some fairy bread / Hagelslag. Okay, so for this dish, all you need is a fancy plate. You don't actually need a fancy plate, I just thought you would want one. You also need some bread, just regular normal bread. I suppose you could go for white, brown, seeded, or any other fancy kind. I've gone for a white, gluten-free, wheat-free, milk-free, which means it's vile. And then also sprinkles. And because I wanted this to be very authentic, I've bought proper Dutch sprinkles, I think. I'm pretty sure they're from the Netherlands. It's in a different language, so I can't tell. Yeah, it is. It's from Amsterdam. So yeah, they're from the Netherlands. I assume they all are because of the same brand. So I'm going to be making a milk chocolate one, a white chocolate version, a dark chocolate version, and then a multicoloured version. I don't know whether these are flavoured or whether it's just like sugar, but it looks very pretty. I think this one will be the fairy bread one. Now, before we get into making this dish, I need to tell you something about my life. So a few days ago, I was in a car crash. So if I'm kind of moving a little bit stiffer and I'm a little bit more robotic than normal today and for a few other videos, it's because I'm suffering quite a bit with whiplash. So I've got quite a bad stiff neck and back, and I'm in a little bit of pain, but I've taken some painkillers, so I'm okay. But that means the brand new car that I got, my lovely Mini, it's poorly, it's been damaged. And it wasn't my fault, this car accident. So basically, I was driving along, and I saw this guy behind us in my rear view mirror, and he was swerving on the other side of the road, he was getting up my ass, he was driving back, completely all over the place. And I was about 4 minutes away from this kind of junction I turn in to close to where I live. And I remember looking out the rearview mirror at this car, and I was coming up to this junction, and I said to myself in my brain, I was like, he is going to go into the back of us. I know for a fact he's going to go into the back of us. So what I did was I indicated way sooner than I normally indicate, and I slowed down a lot sooner before I got to the junction than I normally would. And anyway, because I couldn't look at what was behind us and also what's happening at the junction, I was face forward, waiting to go kind of right. So I had my indicator on, I had to stop because another car was coming, and then all of a sudden, slam, right into the back of us. So it wasn't my fault. This is the first proper car accident I've ever been in, and it was quite scary. It was quite alarming. It was weird as well because when you're in a car accident, you don't fully understand what's happening. It's just a very weird experience. So I remember obviously the impact, and then I tried to stop my car because my car was rolling, and I think my car was still on, but I couldn't find the clutch. I thought the clutch had disappeared. I was pressing my foot down and the pedal wasn't there, so I don't know what was happening. So I just slammed my handbrake on and then kind of rested for a bit and then got out the car and confronted him. Now, I'm not the kind of person who usually lashes out at people. It takes a lot for me to go full on angry at someone. Now, this guy, he got an earful. I swear like a trooper off camera. I try to edit myself on camera because I like to keep it family friendly. And I absolutely scalded him because the issue I had with it is that this accident could have completely been avoided if he was just paying attention. I would have been a bit more kind of understanding and been like, yeah, accidents happen. If it was like a freak accident and it came out of nowhere and no one was necessarily at fault, because accidents do happen. But this guy, he just was not paying attention to the point where when I was getting out and shouting at him, I asked him if he was drunk because I honestly thought he was a drunk driver. That's how bad his driving was. But we exchanged details and everything. We're getting it all sorted. I need to go to physio. My car's getting taken away and getting looked at and seeing what's wrong with it. My car didn't suffer too much damage cosmetically. It doesn't look too bad, but you can never tell kind of what's happened inside it and underneath it. And he went into us with a canny bit of force as well. So I'm just crossing my fingers that my car isn't too poorly. So yes, if I'm a bit stiffer than normal, that is why. My back's hurting already and I've just started. And I will give this guy credit, the person who slammed into the back of us, because he took full responsibility for it when obviously I went through my insurance and everything. He's told his insurance company that he was at fault, which he was. And then also we traded numbers and he texted us on that night asking if I was okay and everything, which I thought was very nice, very kind of him. I did take the opportunity to scold him again because the issue I have is if he's driving like an absolute dickhead, which he was, he could have easily gone into oncoming traffic. He could have done a head-on car collision with someone else and it could have been like an elderly couple or someone with a child. He could have literally killed someone. I'm kind of thankful and fortunate that he's hit into me and not someone else because he could have done way more damage to somebody else. Luckily, I'm a very, very strong, mighty man. And my body can withhold a bit, but if it was like a frail person, they could have easily died. And I was wearing my seatbelt, so that helped. Took my glasses clean off my face, mind. My glasses just went bloof, flew away. So hopefully from now on his driving will get a lot better. And one thing that I'd never really heard of, or no one told us or anything, is that when you get whiplash from a car accident, you get the worst headache you've ever had in your life. My head was thumping. The night it happened, I had to go to bed like dead early because my head, it felt like it was going to explode. And I suppose because your brain like splats off your skull or something, doesn't it? Because of the like jerking motion. But yes, so that's what's happened to me recently. I just thought everyone needed to know and needed to realise why I'm being a bit stiffer. To be fair, I'm moving around a lot more in this video because I like to be animated and I can't control my hands. And I can already feel the pressure on my back, so I'm going to have to... I can't record like this though. I can't be perfectly still. If I was to record like this, it would just be a bit weird. I was going to get a neck brace, but then I read online that neck braces don't actually do anything for whiplash. And also I just thought it was really over dramatic. So maybe if I just record with my hands on my table, my back very straight, it won't hurt that much. I can't record like this though, I can't do it. This video's all about fairy bread. I can't be boring. Anyway, let's get into fairy bread. Okay, so we're gonna start off with some bread. And we just place it on our dish like that. And then you're gonna want some butter. Oh, I've left this out the fridge a bit long. That's okay. Butter our bread. Nom nom nom. I think the dark chocolate one is the very authentic Dutch one. And I think they have it as like a morning snack or like breakfast. I think they actually have it as like a proper meal. And I think it's gonna be really good, the dark chocolate one. So we'll go for this one first. And yes, I had to import all of these fancy sprinkles, so I spent an absolute fortune on chocolate sprinkles, but I thought it was worth it. I'd rather have an authentic experience than just buying generic sprinkles. And we just sprinkle these onto our bread. Let me just try some of these. Oh yeah, they're good. Oh, they're well nice. They're not sprinkles at all. That's like, Oh, I could eat the whole box of that. I'm gonna put it away. I'm not a lover of dark chocolate either, and they're really, really good. Oh, Amsterdam, what are you doing? Right, we'll put that to one side for now, and we'll go on to the next one. I have actually been to Amsterdam before. However, in Amsterdam, obviously weed is legal there, and you can go to the coffee shops and stuff. So I went to Amsterdam for the entire week, and obviously I wanted to participate in their culture of getting high. I don't know whether that's part of their culture. So I spent the entire time high as a kite. Obviously I travelled around Amsterdam, and I think I went on the train at one point and I went around to a gallery, and I can't remember a single thing I did, a single thing I saw. I can't remember anything. I was that high. It was a really nice trip though. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I would actually like to go back and not get as high so I can actually enjoy the place, because if I remember rightly and from the pictures I took, it looked like a very lovely place. Right, which one's this one? Milk chocolate. Okay, milk chocolate done. I'm also not sure whether Hagelslag uses milk chocolate and uses these other sprinkles. I don't know whether it's just dark chocolate, but I thought I would give it a go anyway. As you can see as well, it's a very, very easy dish to make. We'll go for white chocolate next. And also apparently you can toast your bread, but if you're going to do that, you would need to let your toast cool down. Otherwise all your sprinkles are going to melt onto your bread. Right, some white chocolate. I think this one might be a little bit too sickly sweet for me. Are these white chocolate? It doesn't feel like chocolate. That's not chocolate.
Ooh.
Oh my god, are you shitting us? They're not white chocolate at all, but they taste amazing. It's kind of like an aniseed sprinkle, like very sugary, but it's not overpowering. Because I don't like aniseed, but it's got like a hint of aniseed. That's really good. I knew this wasn't chocolate because as soon as I sprinkled it out, they were way harder to beat chocolate. I think that one will be really good. And we'll go for the multicoloured ones. Now this is the one that I would consider to be fairy bread, the Australian version. And apparently what I read online is fairy bread in Australia is kind of like a kid's party food. So it's just bread and butter with multicolored sprinkles on it. What flavour are these going to be? Just tastes like sugar. I've also just realised all of these have gluten in, so I'm going to be shitting myself later. Never mind. That was pointless buying gluten-free bread then, wasn't it? So there we have it. 4 different kinds of fairy bread / what was it called? Hagelslag. 4 different kinds. We've got the dark chocolate one there, the milk chocolate, the multicoloured, and not the white chocolate, but the aniseed one. But I think they look really nice, don't they? Very colourful. Okay, I think we'll try the dark chocolate one first, the very traditional one. That's so good. What I love about this is it's just so simple, but it also tastes really nice. And I also quite like, which I wasn't expecting, is the softness of the bread with the crunch of kind of the sprinkles and the chocolate. I think that's really nice. Let's try the milk chocolate one. That's slightly sweeter than obviously the dark chocolate one, but also not unbearably sweet. You know, if you ever have chocolate spread on toast or chocolate spread sandwich or whatever, and it can be a little bit too sickly sweet, this isn't. It's like, it's perfect. It's just right. We'll go for the fairy bread, the coloured sprinkles one. I think this is just sugar, really. I wasn't expecting such a simple dish to be actually as tasty as it is. And especially if kids are getting this in Australia. Like, I want to be a child in Australia. That's well good. I bet all the parents eat it too. I would. If my kid had a party and we were serving fairy bread for them, there'd be none left. I'd eat it all. Right, and we'll try this one, which is obviously very different and very unusual. And I don't think it's the norm. I think this one might be a little bit overpowering, but we'll see. It's not overpowering at all. It actually calms down the aniseed a little bit more. So you get like a bready, buttery bready kind of flavour with a crunch and then like a little bit of an aftertaste of aniseed. It's really nice actually. To be fair, I think either one of these would be perfect with like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Yeah, so well done, the Netherlands and Australia. Top marks from me, yous have done good.
Points from the United Kingdom go to
the Netherlands and Australia, yay, woo, woohoo, congratulations. If you ever invite me to your country, I would like a plate of this, please. If you do offer me a plate of this, I'll just never leave. I'll just stay with you forever.
I'm not going home.
So that just about does it for today's episode of Cooking with Ant. And I play the fart sound over that only because it's part of the series and not because I think this is fart worthy, because it's not fart worthy at all. So a big thank you to the people of the Netherlands and to Australia. You've done well, you've done very well. However, if I did get any information wrong on this dish, any Dutch people or Australians, feel free to correct me in the comments. Tell us what I've done wrong, but I did try my best and I did do a little bit of research. And also let me know if you've tried this before. Either if you are obviously Dutch or Australian, but also if you're in kind of the other part of the world, whether you've ever had sprinkles on bread. Maybe other countries do this and I've just haven't twigged on and realised. British people definitely don't do this. I've never ever seen it before. It's fantastic though. I'm so thrilled. But if you enjoyed this video as much as I did, then make sure to give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you next week for a brand new video. Oh, delicious. I'm gonna have another bite of this one actually. I think the dark chocolate's definitely my favourite. Oh.